working for you. CBS 6 News at 5 starts now.
Our serial killer is called the shopping cart killer.
We've got breaking news. An investigation into a possible serial killer underway in Virginia. The murders the suspect's already behind bars for, and the mission to identify other victims after connecting him to human remains found this week.
A possible historic discovery on Monument Avenue. Crews may have found the time capsule believed to be buried inside the pedestal of the Robert E. Lee statue. A local historian tells us what could be inside that box.
And Virginia volunteers in Kentucky, a Red Cross worker telling us about the progress they've made in helping people rebuild after tornadoes ripped through that state 1 week ago today.
We begin, though, with that breaking news out of Fairfax County, where police are investigating an alleged serial killer. I'm Julie Bragg.
And I'm Bill Fitzgerald in for Leland. Police believe a man already in custody for killing 2 women in Harrisonburg is connected to remains found in a container in Fairfax. Crime Insider John Burkett joins us live now. And John, police believe this suspect could be responsible for 4 deaths in the state now.
You got that right, Bill. 4 victims so far. Could there be more? That's what several law enforcement agencies in Northern Virginia are trying to figure out as they scour missing persons reports in the state looking for similarities.
Dating sites, motels, blunt force trauma, shopping cart, final resting place.
A pattern several Northern Virginia police agencies have been following since September, and now they believe they have their suspect.
Anthony Robinson, age 35, was arrested as a result of video surveillance and cell phone records that connected him to 2 victims. The first victim, as Chief Davis mentioned, was Elizabeth Redmond, age 54, of Harrisonburg, and Tanita Laree Smith, age 39, of Charlottesville.
Police believe he then scouted his next victim at the metro station in Washington, D.C. Cheyenne Brown disappeared September 30th. Cell phone data led police to the Moon Inn off Route 1 in Fairfax County.
Remembering that the victims in the Harrisonburg murders were transported by using a shopping cart, detectives observed a shopping cart in the wooded area not far from the Moon Inn. Besides the shopping cart was a lone container.
Inside, human remains.
The tentative identification is based upon a very distinct tattoo that Miss Brown had on her body.
Police say Robinson has ties to D.C. and New York and believes this string of dating app disappearances may not be his only killings.
We have determined that the suspect in custody in Harrisonburg was communicating with Miss Brown, utilizing a dating website. Detectives are hoping that further examination of these records that we have and more that are coming will provide additional information on who the second victim is.
Major Ed O'Carroll heads up Fairfax County's Major Crimes Unit and believes they have at least 1 more victim, bringing the total to 4. Fairfax PD, an agency now reaching out to others all across the state, saying if they have similar information, they need to talk.
He's a predator, as all serial killers are, and it's our collective effort in law enforcement to do everything we can with each other, with the community, to identify other places where he has been so we can bring closure and ultimately justice. He preys on the weak, he preys on the vulnerable, and he does unspeakable things with his victim.
Now, Bill, I checked with my sources within the Metro Richmond Police Departments, including Caroline, Petersburg, and Spotsylvania counties. All of them say right now they do not have similar cases, but as you heard the Fairfax County Major say, their investigation will be widespread and thorough. Working for you outside of State Police Headquarters in Chesterfield County tonight, John Burkett, CBS 6 News.
Thank you, John. A student was arrested at Henrico High School today for having parts that could be assembled to create a gun. In a letter to parents, Principal Karen Castillo-Rose said, "I want to thank the individual that reported the matter to us and to police who worked quickly to address the situation and recover the potential weapon. At the school level, we're taking appropriate action within the guidelines of the Code of Student Conduct." We'll have more on this incident at Henrico High School tonight on the CBS 6 News at 11. And we're also learning about an alarming social media post circulating at Freeman High School. In an email, the principal says the post shows a former student posing with a weapon on what appears to be the school campus. Administrators have identified that student, and Henrico police are now handling the situation. The principal says she's confident the photo is from a previous school year, but says learning that there was a weapon on school grounds at some point is upsetting. These alerts come as several school districts saw an increased police presence in response to social media posts warning of shootings or explosives all around the country today. Richmond, Henrico, Amelia, New Kent, and Dinwiddie schools all acknowledging the TikTok posts and assuring parents the threats were not considered credible. TikTok says it is working with law enforcement to investigate those posts. For most students in our area, today was the last day of classes before the start of winter break.
Months ago, crews in Richmond searched for a time capsule supposedly hidden inside the pedestal of the Robert E. Lee statue on Monument Avenue, but to no avail. In September, that statue came down. This morning, crews stumbled upon a box that looks just like the one described in documents from the 1800s. Brendan King joins us live now. And Brendan, you talked to a Richmond historian who says this could really be it.
Well, Julie, after years and years of researching and then waiting, that historian says he is pretty confident that the box found here on Monument Avenue is indeed that time capsule. But the big question is now, are the contents inside safe or destroyed by Mother Nature?
A longtime Richmond secret.
Mike, we found something.
Finally uncovered.
It wasn't that it wasn't meant to be found. It wasn't meant to be found easily. And they really went out of their way to bury it in the monument in a way that only destroying the monument's the only way that it could be found.
For years, Richmond historian Dale Brumfield has studied the possibility of a 134-year-old time capsule hidden somewhere in the Lee statue on Monument Avenue. The state says at 7 Friday morning, crews taking apart the granite pedestal noticed something different, 20 feet high, a plaster or cement cap covering what appears to be a copper box, just like the newspapers of the 1880s described.
I'm thrilled to hear it's there. This is the first of 3 parts of this mystery. The first one is finding it. The second one is finding out that the contents are okay. The third one is finding out if that Lincoln picture is really in there.
Brumfield says more than 30 Richmond families and groups donated the Confederate memorabilia, like bullets, money, and this picture of President Abraham Lincoln lying in his coffin.
I think it's part of the mystery of maybe the lost cause. What were they thinking back then? Why did you put a picture of a deceased president in the pedestal of a statue to the glorification of a Confederate general? It makes no sense, unless it was a big middle finger to the North and everything Lincoln stood for.
Just after 2 p.m., crews lifted the stone and placed it on the ground.
I'm hoping it's still salvageable.
Now it'll be up to historians to find out if this box really could hold the treasures of the Confederate past.
There were no open-buy dates prior to the 1920s, 1930s. They put these time capsules in with the expectation that they would last in perpetuity. So it's like, well, why would they do that? You know, why would they even bother to put one in if that's the case? So that's kind of just one of the questions of the past that we still grapple with.
So what is next? The state says they'll first x-ray the box and then deliver it to the Department of Historic Resources to be open on Monday. But tonight, what continues to puzzle this historian is the location from where the box was found. He says if this is truly the time capsule, then those newspapers back in 1880s, they got it all wrong. We'll dig into that all new at 6 o'clock. Working for you, Richmond, I'm Brendan King, CBS 6 News.
A source of twists and turns to that story. All right, well, it's been a week since a string of tornadoes rolled through several states, leaving dozens dead and a path of destruction that's still being cleaned up.
Volunteers from the Red Cross of Virginia have been a part of those efforts and supporting those impacted by the storms. They spoke with our Cameron Thompson about what they've seen during their time in Kentucky.
It's bizarre.
Ned Warman describes what he's seen in his few days in Bowling Green, Kentucky, a place he's been since leaving Henrico County Monday as part of the Red Cross recovery response to last week's deadly tornadoes. Ones Warman says cut direct paths through neighborhoods.
You look to the left and the house, the roof on the left is gone, and you look to the right, just on the other side of the street, and there's no damage whatsoever.
Warman, alongside Chris Payne, have spent their time so far assessing the damage in that town and finding those needing help. Payne saying those they've met are dealing with things as best they can.
these people, everybody's going through COVID, and now right before Christmas and the New Year, these people just ain't getting a break.
Next, Warman says the pair in their emergency response vehicle will be helping to deliver meals to those that need them.
We're going to go to a restaurant. We're going to pick up 200 servings of a hot meal.
In total, the Red Cross says along with its partner World Central Kitchen, they've served more than 10,000 meals. They've also handed out over 6,000 relief items, and over 500 people remain in their shelters.
What I've seen is that really in the worst of times, I often see the best in people.
Callie Edwards, a national spokesperson who's been helping in Mayfield, Kentucky, praises the work of not only the Red Cross, but the other nonprofits coming down to help.
It really takes a village when it comes to these responses for so many people and organizations to come together. It's no job that one organization can hold alone. And so it's really just been impactful.
And for Warman, he says it's a good feeling to see that when a call goes out, people come from all over the U.S.
To help out in places where they've never been and help people that they don't know. It's just it's a wonderful thing to do.
Coming up at 6 o'clock, 3 ways the Red Cross says you can help them with their mission down there. Working for you in Henrico County, Cameron Thompson, CBS 6 News.
So many thousands of families impacted. It's going to take a long time. It is great to see all of those boots on the ground helping.
Yeah. Here at home, the headline in the weather department is, it's not feeling a lot like Christmas.
It feels like springtime, Zach. Do we skip weather? I mean, do we skip winter somehow?
It has been pretty wild here, guys. We've had 4 straight days, maybe 5 straight days at this point, of at least 60 degrees. And today and yesterday, 70 degrees or more. Let me show you what we've got outside right now. And we've cooled off a little bit since being up in the low 70s. It's 67 currently. It's 68 up in Ashland, 63 Tappahannock, and currently just 55. That is definitely the outlier out in Kilmarnock. Looking at what's going on around Virginia, we do have a cold front that is cutting the Commonwealth just about in half. Back to the west, it's pretty much stopped its southward progress. And the farther west you go, it's actually lifting back to the north in the form of a warm front. North of that warm front, there's a lot more rainfall through parts of Indiana and Kentucky. And we do have some energy heading in our direction that will increase our chances for rain here over about the next 48 hours. Let's check out the forecast here for the next 12 hours. And our temperature is going to hold in the 50s again. This morning's low was only about 55. Overnight tonight will only drop to 50 degrees, so relatively mild. A low chance for a few showers overnight. Chance for showers increases a bit tomorrow. Still not going to be a washout, though, if you've got to get some stuff done. Like many of us, getting some last-minute Christmas shopping done should be okay to be out and about for tomorrow. Certainly mild. It is going to get a lot colder, though. I'll show you when in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Zach. Well, the good weather led to a busy morning for a Richmond police officer delivering gifts to children and families in Richmond's public housing communities. It's a tradition for 1st Precinct Officer Early and his family. Each year they give back to the neighborhoods of Mosby, Whitcomb, Fairfield, and Creighton Courts. Early says he believes it's important to continue to foster positive relationships among residents and police. He hopes this tradition helps.
Just hoping to share some love, Love, it's not the guns, it's not the knives that is doing all the crimes, it's the hearts. If we can change hearts at an early age, then we can start a revolution, Just really, if you see the joy in these kids' faces when you give them a present, that's enough to stop any crime.
Some pretty powerful sentiments there. Officer Early also says he wants this event to encourage others to follow in the giving spirit of the season.
The CDC is recommending the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine over Johnson & Johnson. This comes as the Omicron variant spreads to the majority of the U.S. Coming up, we'll explain why the CDC director is backing that recommendation.
And a snapshot of American life in 2021. We have the top trends from Google this year, from busiest shopping times to the most searched meme. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky is endorsing a CDC panel's recommendation that Pfizer and Moderna's coronavirus vaccines be used before Johnson & Johnson's. That's due to a rare blood clotting condition from the J&J vaccine. But Walensky points out because of the pandemic, any vaccine is better than none. President Biden's chief medical advisor, Anthony Fauci, says the U.S. is facing a double threat with the still surging Delta strain and the new Omicron variant, which is now in 3/4 of the U.S. states.
The optimum protection is fully vaccinated plus a boost. So the bottom line of what we've been telling you all along, it is critical to get vaccinated. If you are vaccinated, it is critical for optimal protection to get boosted.
We are facing these two variants with Christmas Eve just a week away. In the next half hour, we'll hear from Virginia State Health Commissioner Norman Oliver as he answers questions about staying safe at family gatherings over the holidays. Every December, millions of wreaths are placed upon the graves of veterans across the U.S. It's the work of the organization Wreaths Across America and their volunteers. This weekend, hundreds of local volunteers will show up at the Virginia Veterans Cemetery in Amelia to honor the veterans who are memorialized there. The cemetery is the final resting place of some 5,000 heroes. The wreaths, which are paid for with donations from the public, will leave Morissette Funeral and Cremation Service tomorrow morning in a procession led by local law enforcement. After a brief ceremony at noon, volunteers will carry the wreaths across the cemetery to the graves of every veteran. If you'd like to volunteer to pitch in, there is still time. Just go to wreathsacrossamerica.org.
Time to get another check of the weather. And, you know, I don't know why it just really hit me today that I was like, this just doesn't feel right, Zach.
It doesn't. You're right. And it was a lot warmer than this. I'm trying to remember just off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure it was 2015 or 16, one of those 2 years. I think it may have been, well, I don't know, one of those 2 years where it was in the mid 70s, even on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. Very, very warm weather. So it's not like it's unprecedented, but this is definitely above normal. Let me show you what we've got outside right now. And currently our temperature is 67 degrees. We have a southeast wind at 5 miles per hour and a good bit of moisture around the dew point in the mid 50s. A front should slide far enough south to allow us to drop to around 50 overnight, but that's still fairly mild for this time of the year. In fact, that's close to the normal high for this time of the year. Other temperatures out there are mostly all in the 60s except 55 in Kilmarnock and 59 degrees down in Emporia. Here are your weather headlines. Showers possible tonight through Sunday morning. Not the entire time, but just scattered showers around. The best chance will be Sunday morning. Then colder air arrives during the day Sunday with chilly weather next week, but dry weather next week. A cool Christmas Eve on Friday, but the weather on Christmas Day still in question. The models are showing two very different scenarios, so a little bit still questionable at this point. There's a look through our Sky Tracker roof cam, some clouds around, and some sprinkles up north. You can see nothing particularly heavy. A few showers across western Hanover County and out into eastern Louisa County. Again, not a whole lot out here. It's very light, if anything's reaching the ground. And across the region, cold front continues to cut the Commonwealth in half right now. Then it goes stationary, then it goes warm, lifting to the north there, and a good bit of rainfall north of that. Lows tonight, 40s north of the front, 50s south of it. Highs tomorrow are going to make it into the low 60s up north, but mid and upper 60s central and south. Here's a look at your skycast. A fairly low chance for any rainfall prior to noon, and only a slightly better chance in the afternoon. Not going to be a washout. So a few scattered showers this evening, and tomorrow morning, again, just a few sprinkles possible. A little bit better chance of rain in the afternoon, but still hit or miss. Should be fine if you have to go out and do some last-minute shopping. The best chances of rain will be on Sunday as a cold front moves through the area. This will primarily be Sunday morning with dry and much colder conditions developing as the day wears on. And Monday, a beautiful day with tons of sunshine. All right, there's your probability of rain over the next week. 40% Saturday, 60% Sunday, but that's going to be early on Sunday. And looking at our temperature trend, mid-60s tomorrow. That'll close the book on the mild weather for a little while as we start to see what is more typical for mid to late December now is what we're looking at. 51 Sunday, only 48 on Monday. It'll feel chilly both those days. And then we'll warm up a little bit next week, but another surge of cold air arrives as we get into Thursday and Friday. Friday, which is Christmas Eve. All right. So what are the odds of getting a white Christmas around here? This is the 5% contour. And notice it does come through central Virginia. That's pretty low odds. Looking at the highest odds here in white, obviously the Rockies, pretty high odds out into the northeast as well. Zooming in, again, 5% through Richmond, 10 to 25% along the Blue Ridge, higher back to the west. Of course, that's in any given year. The predominant weather pattern of that year is going to change a lot. I don't see any huge opportunity for any wintry weather as it stands right now. Winter solstice, the beginning of winter, is on Tuesday.
Are you sure about that? All right. Billions of daily web searches give Google a snapshot of American life in 2021. So let's dive into some of the most searched things of the year. Let's start with Google Maps business feature. It shows the times stores and airports are the busiest. It showed the grocery store the least busy time, 8 p.m. on a Thursday. The busiest, 1 p.m. on Sunday. I believe that. For airports, the busiest time is noon on Saturday, and the least busy time is 9 p.m. on a Saturday. Next up, Google says we searched for how to pronounce all kinds of things in 2021, the most popular being a form of cryptocurrency.
Another thing that's been top of mind for a lot of people in 2021 was cryptocurrency. And in fact, one of my favorite trends is that how to pronounce Dogecoin was the top in the how to pronounce category.
When it comes to TV, Squid Game dominated this year as the top trending show and the most searched meme of 2021.
Wait for it.
Where is it? It's Bernie and his mittens.
Wow.
They were great memes, man.
They were showing up every day.
They
for
were,
a couple of weeks.
and there were just dozens and dozens and dozens of them.
He's behind you. Take a look. Something else that's trending right now, Lewis Ginter, the Botanical Gardens holiday light display, one of the best in the nation. New at 5, where it came in on USA Today's 10 best list.
This time of year, the Virginia Beach oceanfront is covered in holiday lights.
And part of the display is actually powered by wind turbines, thanks to students. The special fixture features Santa with a dolphin, and it's powered by a wind turbine as well as a solar panel, and it has a battery backup. It's a joint effort from Dominion Energy, JMU, the Wednesday Project, and Virginia Beach Schools Environmental Studies Program. The students and staff put together a 25-foot wind turbine to show off the possibilities of clean energy. If you want to see the light display the students worked so hard on, or any of the others along the oceanfront, Holiday Lights at the Beach runs through January 2nd. You do have to buy tickets in advance. New at 5, a big honor for Lewis Ginter Botanical Gardens.
The Dominion Energy Garden Festive Lights is among the top holiday light displays in the country. USA Today held a contest for the 10 best botanical garden holiday lights, and Lewis Ginter's display came in at number 2. Brian Trader, president and CEO of Lewis Ginter, says they are honored, especially since winners are chosen by the public. People have been voting since it launched on November 8th. Voting ended December 6th. Taking the top spot in USA Today's 10 best list, a Longwood Christmas in Pennsylvania. Norfolk's Million Bulb Walk also made the list, coming in at number 6. Garden Festive Lights here in our area at Lewis Ginter open through January 9th.
We went there last weekend.
Yes.
It's just beautiful, and it's a nice leisurely stroll, and there's one surprise after another everywhere you turn.
What a great honor for them. That's wonderful.
Yeah, a little publicity. Making sure families can celebrate Christmas even from the hospital. Doctors at UVA Children's Hospital have set up a special toy shop inside. Coming up at 5:30, how the shop helps parents surprise their children for Christmas free of charge.
Hundreds of Virginia high school students protesting after their Muslim classmate was allegedly attacked. The latest details on the incident and how the school is handling it.
A children's hospital bringing Christmas cheer, how they're brightening spirits for the upcoming holidays.
Working for you. CBS 6 News at 5:30 starts now.
Thanks for joining us here at 5:30. I'm Julie Bragg.
I'm Cheryl Miller. Hundreds of Virginia high school students were protesting Thursday about the way a school handled an incident that is now being investigated by police.
Yeah, this incident was initially reported as someone having a medical problem, but a Muslim student says her hijab was pulled off and she was shoved to the ground.
Reporter Tom Rousey details this Northern Virginia incident.
An estimated 350 students protested at Fairfax High after they say a student was attacked here Tuesday afternoon because she's Muslim.
She couldn't breathe. She was laid on the floor. She couldn't move out of her position.
Students accused the school system of trying to sweep the incident under the rug.
The school's trying to cover it up and said I had a panic attack, which that did not happen.
Ekran Mohammed says some students made racist drawings in a marketing class, became increasingly aggressive, and then one of them assaulted her.
My backpack bumped into him, and then he got mad, and he pushed me. and then he grabbed my hijab.
Mohammed says he pulled her hijab off, and when she fought back, he shoved her hard into a desk.
Everybody was outside waiting for the buses, and we saw the ambulance come into the school.
Physically, my whole left side of my body is bruised. Mentally, I'm okay because I have all the support around me today.
Mohammed says she and the student were given the same punishment, a one-day in-school suspension, which they served Wednesday in the same room where she says the student kept looking at her.
That's entirely unacceptable, and that's something I want to go back to see with staff how we can do better in the future.
County School Board member Abrar Omeish, the only elected official in Virginia who wears a hijab, says she's concerned by the response. The school system told us it is investigating and, quote, no further details can be shared at this stage as administrators work to establish the facts. Fairfax County Public Schools and City of Fairfax schools support the rights of students to peacefully protest.
Fairfax County Public Schools is not explaining why Mohammed and the student who allegedly attacked her were both given the same punishment. The other student involved is not being named because he's a minor and has not been charged with a crime. A children's hospital here in Virginia is spreading holiday joy and giving parents a stress-free way to make their child's Christmas special. Every year, medical staff from the University of Virginia's Children's Hospital sets up a toy shop. Parents can pick out toys for their child who's been admitted to the hospital as well as for their siblings. All the gifts are free and were donated by UVA employees, members of the community, and local organizations.
Just can't describe what it means. I mean, honestly, even if we did have the funds, just the means of it being off of our brain to do, it's amazing.
The hospital hopes this annual event takes away some of the stress of parents who will spend the holidays at the hospital with their child.
A new survey suggests a significant drop in substance abuse among teens in 2021, and health experts say more study is needed to keep the trend going. The survey was done by the National Institute on Drug Abuse and shows the largest single-year decline in illicit drug use in more than 45 years. For 8th and 10th graders, the numbers are down 5% since 2020 and declined nearly 12% for 10th graders. The research suggests other substance use went down as well, including alcohol and marijuana use and vaping. However, researchers say there were limitations to this survey. Fewer students participated, and the survey was given while students were at home for virtual schooling.
If this is on a downswing, what are we doing correctly, and how do we continue to propel it forward so that kids use less and less?
Researchers say it's up to adults to keep this trend going down.
On this Friday afternoon, you could actually drive home with the windows down if you wanted to.
I know you could, and how weird is that when people are wrapping Christmas gifts, Zach?
I know. I'd flirt over my head out the window. Is that all right as well? Walter taught me that one.
Like Walt.
But yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you break a sweat running from your car to the shops. I was doing all that today, trying to go to the post office, and actually had a great experience at the post office, which was something that doesn't always happen. It was moving along great. Let me show you what we've got outside right now, and it's warm. You know that if you've been out and about today. Temperatures in the mid to upper 60s in most areas. It is 55 though in Kilmarnock, so a little cooler out that way. Other temperatures around the area kind of depend on what side of the front you're on. The cold front has moved into Virginia. It's a pretty weak front, and it goes stationary the farther west you go, and then it becomes a warm front where it's actually lifting to the north. Good bit of rainfall north of that through parts of Kentucky and now into Indiana and Ohio. We're going to see our rain chances increasing a little bit over the next couple of days. All right, here's what our temperatures will do tonight. It's going to be a fairly warm night. 50 will be the overnight low temperature. That's it, and that's really about the normal high for this time of the year. We'll have mostly cloudy skies. A few showers will be possible. Not a lot of wet weather overnight tonight, though. Very light northeast wind. And for tomorrow, just a slightly better chance for a few showers around, particularly in the afternoon. A high of 66. It's still warm. Maybe not quite as warm as today, but still well above normal. The colder air is coming. I will show you when it'll get here and how cold it'll be in a few minutes.
Thank you, Zach. Health officials are worried about the surge of positive COVID-19 cases the holidays will likely bring.
CBS 6's Bree Season is here with the latest on the virus and what precautions you should take for the holidays. Bree?
Julie and Cheryl, experts warn that the Omicron variant could soon become the dominant strain, just as we saw Delta do earlier this year. Omicron appears to be even more transmissible than previous versions of COVID-19 because people are more likely to be indoors at this time of year and to gather as a family. Public health officials are encouraging everyone to double down on efforts to contain community spread of the virus. Most critical is to get vaccinated and any recommended boosters. Beyond that, paying attention to ventilation and limiting any crowd sizes are the best things that you can do to help.
If you do all of those things, vaccinate yourself, wear masks indoors, wash your hands frequently, only be in small gatherings, I think you can have time with family, friends, and loved ones this holiday season.
While there appear to be more breakthrough cases of the Omicron strain, the good news is, particularly in vaccinated individuals, so far the symptoms are much more mild and less lethal.
Bree, thank you so much. Well, President Biden's signature legislation that addresses child care, health care, climate change, and more has stalled in Congress.
The president announced last night that a vote on the legislation will not happen before Christmas like the White House wanted. Capitol insider Joe St. George explains the hesitancy in Congress.
If you thought President Biden's agenda has stalled because of Republicans battling Democrats, you are wrong. The Build Back Better bill was always written in a way so that it could become law with only Democratic votes, since Democrats control the House and the Senate. So what's the divide? Right now, President Biden hasn't been able to convince every Democratic senator to be on board, with Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia being the most elusive. Because Manchin's support is needed, Manchin has as much veto power on this issue as the president. As far as money, that isn't the problem. Both agree that spending around $1.7 trillion is okay. The debate is over how to spend the money and for how long. President Biden wants the legislation to create and fund all of these ideas. Scrolling on your screen, from capping child care costs to offering Medicare hearing coverage to investing in climate change. The president addresses all of these issues by only funding some programs for a limited time, since he can only spend a limited amount of money. For example, President Biden only funds the expanded child tax credit for 1 year. Child care subsidies would last just 3 years. Funding for pre-K, that would expire after 6 years. Manchin disagrees with that approach. He believes instead of funding all of these issues for a couple years, Democrats should pick one or two and fund them for a decade or so. If they don't, he fears benefits could be taken away from Americans by future leaders, or they would contribute to the national debt.
I think everyone has to choose basically what we can sustain. My grandfather used to say, unmanaged debt will make a coward out of the decisions you make.
A looming question in Washington? What comes next? Officially, the White House says negotiations with Senator Manchin and every other Democrat are continuing over the holidays, but it's clear this philosophical disagreement won't be an easy one to overcome. In Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
This incident is often referred to as the first major urban tragedy in America, and it happened more than 2 centuries ago right here in Richmond. In his latest I Have a Story, Greg McQuaid sheds light on the devastating Richmond Theater fire that took the lives of dozens of people. On December 26, 1811, about 600 people were at the Richmond Theater on East Broad Street. Candles ignited part of the set, and in minutes the theater was engulfed in flames. Theatergoers tried to make their way to safety, but more than 70 people lost their lives in the fire. The victims, including the governor of Virginia, were buried together in a crypt under what is now Monumental Church. The fire 210 years ago made such an impact that it's likened to the 9/11 attacks and the sinking of the Titanic.
The loss of civilian life is not something that has happened in this young country at that point. So this is considered international news when it happens.
Black and white, free and slave, poor and middling, rich. What happened on this site that night was one of the greatest tragedies that the city had ever experienced.
Greg McQuaid's I Have a Story looks back on the Richmond Theater fire. Learn about the tragedy and the tales of bravery. Plus, Greg takes you to a place linked to the fire rarely seen by most people. That's coming up tonight for you on the CBS 6 News at 11.
A Virginia doctor is changing the lives of children born with a cleft palate this holiday season. How her practice is helping families get their children the care they need.
Ahead, why one Virginia Salvation Army bell ringer is going above and beyond to help those in need for the holidays.
We have some good news. The new signal traffic installation project will become full-color operational along Forest Hill Avenue. I'll have all the details when you join us on Monday.
All right, Kristen, I'll be tracking some much cooler temperatures for the week ahead. Join us from 4:30 till 7 a.m.